You wanted the best. You've got the best podcast. The hottest podcast in the world. The Chris Voss Show. The preeminent podcast with guests so smart you may experience serious brain bleed. The CEOs, authors, thought leaders, visionaries, and motivators. Get ready. Strap yourself in. Keep your hands, arms, and legs inside the vehicle at all times, because you're about to go on a monster education roller coaster with your brain. Now, here's your host, Chris Voss.
Hi, folks. It's Voss here from thechrisvossshow.com. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. When the Iron Lady sings, that makes the show official. For 15 years, ladies and gentlemen, we've been bringing you the Chris Voss Show. Have you shared it with your family, friends, and relatives? Have you reached out to them and put 5 people in your downline and said, you should go subscribe to the Chris Voss Show? Maybe use a little guilt and shaming, like tell them that maybe you'll finally love them if they subscribe to the show or something. Don't do that, people. That's not nice. We appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, bringing the CEOs, the billionaires, White House presidential advisors, governors, Congress members, U.S. ambassadors, astronauts, Pulitzer Prize winners, people who've lived a lifetime of things in their journey and everything they've gone into, and they bring you what we like to call, as I always quote on the Chris Voss Show, stories are the owner's manual to life. So as you engage in the Chris Voss Show, you join an elite group of people that bask in the Chris Voss Show glow and knowledge and all the wonderful things that our guests bring to us. Today we have an amazing young gentleman on the show. Ben Brown joins us. He is a sales expert, author, and father of 2 young children. He's worked in sales for over 23 years and currently works with small businesses and helps them with their sales issues and low sales. When it comes to sales, he's done it all, from stock brokerage style cold calling to car salesman to gym memberships to medical devices. He can sell anything. He's gathered all of his sales experiences, 20 years worth, and put them into a 10-step process and proven and tested sales process to help people get more clients and more sales. He says when sales is done right, it's a pleasing process. Welcome to the show, Ben. How are you?
How are you, Chris? Glad to be here.
I am good, and thanks for asking. No one ever asks how I'm doing. No one cares how I feel. And what's the title of your book?
Master the Art of Closing the Sale.
There you go. And it is available on Amazon?
Yes, sir, it is.
There you go. So give us your .coms. Where can people find your information and all that good stuff?
360 Sales Consulting is the actual website, but if people want to reach out, very simple, is Meet with Benjamin. My first name is Benjamin, and I have meetwithbenjamin.com for people to connect with, and the book is on Amazon, Master the Art of Closing the Sale by Benjamin Brown. But most of the people, the easiest way to reach me is Meet with Benjamin. You know, we're so busy in our lives right now, finding ways for people to communicate is easy. So I bought meetwithbenjamin.com, and you can schedule a call right there.
There you go. So mastering the art of closing the sale, the game-changing 10-step sales process for getting more clients and referrals. Give us a 30,000 overview of what's inside the book.
Well, every sale has 10 steps, but not every business needs all 10. Some sales processes are short, some are long, 6 months, some are like instant, but sales is everywhere. So what I teach people, even like if you have a child and the child wants to get picked up, that's a sale. Because the purpose of a sale is to get somebody to move, right?
There you go.
So how do you do that? So what I analyze in the books is the 10 standard steps that a sale actually uses. And if you understand those, you start to understand the language of sales. And it's a skill.
So do you want to tease some of them out to us, the 10?
Well, the first one is really important. It's called getting prepared. So most of the time, people are not prepared for sales. It's like I'll give you an example. You're in a mall, you want to date, you see a pretty girl, you're like, oh, you hesitate, you're not prepared, right? So sales is every aspect of your life. If you're married and you get divorced, somehow you stop selling. So, it's very simple.
It's very
so
true.
Sales is simple, but it's not easy.
It's very true. I mean, people don't realize that everything in life is sales. Like I'll meet people, over the years when I've taught sales and stuff in our companies. I've had
Right.
people say, I don't like selling. I'm not a salesman. I don't like selling. It's like you sell all day long. You sell your significant others, your spouses. You sell people to fall in love with you and why they should. Where you buy a car to sell people on what you think your image is and what you want them to believe it is. We go on social media and try and sell that we're a good person. Try and when you go to a job interview, you're trying to sell yourself. A lot of people don't realize they've really been selling all their lives.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Chris. You sell, right? As
Hmm.
a child, you sell all the time because you close. The step
Hmm.
that you use as a child is just to close. You don't have it set up. You don't have any other steps. So you close, 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 close. You get what you want, right? So in a Western civilization, we're taught and trained to go to school, go to college, learn the skills that you need to get a job. And when you have a job, you have the money to get what you want, not ask for what you
Not
want. So what
ask for
happens,
what you want.
right? So when
I like
people
that.
go get their college degree, they go work for a company X amount of years, and then they start their own business. They realize they got to go back and start asking, and their muscle has atrophied because they haven't asked since they were children.
There you go. It's thing that I like that paradigm that you have that you learn to ask for what you want instead of just like, can I get a job? It makes all the difference in the world of that paradigm. What are some of the other 10 signals?
Oh, well, the next one is connect and relate. We do this a lot more days in this society where they call it relationship sales, where you get to know the person that you talk to, find something in common
Hmm.
to make them more at ease, find some commonality, college, school, state,
Rapport.
weather, football, and that will let a customer more at ease. The reason is that is because the difference between a great and a good salesperson is the number of questions that you ask.
The
So
number of questions that you ask.
yes.
I
So
like
most
that.
people are not good salespeople because they don't ask enough questions.
I like that. It's people just think, well, I just ask a few questions, and it seems like uh, just building rapport is so lost nowadays. People just, they call you up or they pitch you over social media and they just go right for the close. And you're just like, I don't know you from Adam. Like, I got nothing invested in your crap. Like, what the
Right.
hell? Yeah.
How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel used, eh? It's like,
Right.
it's like, take me to dinner first, wine and dine me, eh? Before you try
So I
and,
would I would get from that just based upon if I'm listening, because the key point of a salesperson is that at the end of your sentence you use the word a. So I would go back to if I'm on the phone with you and I go, Chris, you're from Canada?
no, we have a lot of people from Canada on. I watched
So
I
then
watched
you go,
Bob and Doug too
okay,
many times.
wow, and then I can reflect that and I build some type of rapport. So it's most of the thing what you're doing in sales that's important is that you're doing two activities
Hmm.
proactively and you're doing one reactively at the same time. So
Oh.
one of the things you got to know exactly where you're going in the direction of the sale. You have
Hmm.
to be confident, and then you have to listen. And most people don't listen.
Mm. And that's a real big issue because they don't care. They're just so busy pushing
Yeah.
sales. They're like, sell, buy my stuff. And you're like, man, I don't know who you are, and you don't seem to have my interests at heart because you don't care. You didn't even bother to ask.
Mm-mm.
So, you know, take a hike. Why do you think learning sales is so important?
Well, it learns you to navigate in life because everything is actually sales. If
Hmm.
you look at it from that standpoint,
Hmm.
um, let me give you a good analogy, Chris. You can understand this. And that's one of the things I teach. It helps people understand. A homeless person that you see on the street, on a good corner that has a good mentality, not mentally have issues, but just hard on their luck, things are not working out, it
Hmm.
can happen to any one of us, right? So if you get a homeless person and they did a study and you go out on a corner, a good corner, and you put a sign out there, on average in the United States, how much money you think that person can generate per day?
I don't know. It depends, I think, kind of where they're at. Like up here in I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay, normally between $300 to $700 a day,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Wow, I'm in the
you
wrong
look at
business.
him or that person, right? Right?
Yeah.
$300 to $700. That's why you don't see them out there that much, because what do they need? They don't have overhead,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I, as a business person, in retrospect, you have fax machine, computers, you have rent, you have a mortgage, you have cell phone bills, you have a website, you have everything. This person is making $700, $300, $700 a day. Is your business making that? Normally, no, right? Entrepreneur. And you ask, what is the difference between you and that other person?
Hmm. What is the difference?
There is no difference. The difference between that person is the homeless person is using something called focus. They don't
Ah.
care about what their family say, what their friends, they don't care what they look like, they don't care about rejection, they don't care what people say about them. They're out there to get what they want because their need is strong. It's either alcohol, drugs, something to eat, something to keep them warm, necessities, right? You go back to the necessities. So you don't care about anything else. When we go to work, do we have our coffee? Did a cell phone went off? Did our friends call? All these different distractions, right? Now, let me ask you a question. For that person in small business, they're normally selling a service or a product, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the homeless person selling, Chris?
Just I don't know. You tell me.
What do you get when you give them money?
You feel good. You feel like you've done
What do
something
you
charitable.
what do you get, Chris? What do you get?
I have no idea. You're gonna have to tell me.
Put your hand out. What do you get? What do you get in return from them when
Nothing.
you give them money? Nothing.
Okay.
So they're selling nothing, making $300 to $700 a day. You have a product or a service, and you can't match that.
So that I should definitely feel bad.
Who's the better sir? Who's the better salesperson?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So it's not about the product or service. It's you.
that's an interesting perspective. I mean, when you say that it's I mean, you're part of what you're selling is charity. You're buying is charity, you know. You want to feel good
No,
like you're
what do
helping
you get in
people.
return? You're giving them money. They're
Yeah.
selling you
But you get
based
it,
upon your
you get a
emotion.
feel good thing like I helped somebody, I did something of charitable service.
Right. So it should be easier if you're selling a product or service,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, he's basically selling, hey, you want to feel good, you want to help somebody, you want to, I'm going to play on your guilt a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. So I think there's a trade there that actually does take place. I don't think it's nothing.
Will you remember that a week from now?
Yeah. I mean, why would I not remember a week from now? I don't know.
I'm saying you tangibly don't get anything. Now you
Tangibly,
get a
yeah.
feeling.
Physically, yeah.
You get a feeling. It's like somebody giving you like for men, somebody coming and give you a compliment, which we don't get a lot. It's like, oh, I got a compliment,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, but I'm saying on between business and the sale itself, it's a sale going on there.
Yes.
Where something is something you can really service or something that is really product wise. I mean, you market to get this thing out, the whole deal. They're not doing any of that. They don't have any overhead.
That's
and they're
true.
still
They don't have
doing
an
the same
inventory
process.
It's they don't have any inventory either.
No overhead, no website, no Instagram, no nothing. And they're making that type of money just because they're asking.
I'm going to quit my day job. How do you think sales have changed over the years? And it has changed with online. There's a lot of online services. When I
Right.
grew up, you went knocking on doors and
Right.
business doors and stuff. How do you think sales have changed over the years? And is this process of sales changed or has it remained the same?
It's the same thing, but just a different way. Most times in the last 10 years ago, we started using copy. People stopped reading. So
Mhm.
now we're on the visual deal, Instagram. I
Mhm.
need to be visually sold. 10 years ago, you can write a copy and you can make money. Everybody's in the game for the same thing. They're looking for low-hanging fruit, right? So I go to a business person. I say, I take away your computer, your cell phone, and your fax machine, or whatever you have. How are you going to sell? So these are tools.
Mm-hmm.
When I started in sales, I had a black phone and a notebook. That was it. And we're pulling down, in our company, we're pulling down, tens of thousands a day in business just by being on the phone, proactively calling. People don't like to do that anymore. That's work, right? So if I can market myself to low-hanging fruit, why wouldn't I do that? Pay a firm to come in, put us on Instagram, create these videos, get the vibe going, get everybody going, and then having them knocking down the door. And then people say, it's a difference between an order taker and a salesperson, right? So everybody would love to have that, but more than likely, these things are called tools. The cell phone, these things, the computers, these are tools. Same thing they had back in the days. Before they had radio. Radio was a tool.
Mm-hmm.
TV was a tool. Cable was a tool. So if you look at it from that standpoint, sales has not changed. Just the tools that you have has. So if you still take somebody who has $1 million business and they say, oh, we're rocking and rolling. I said, there's a person walking down the street. Could you sell them? They probably couldn't.
Yeah. So sales really hasn't changed. You talk about this in your book. It's, there's still the steps that you have. There's still gaining rapport, closing, objections, probing the client, asking them what they want to achieve, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
One thing you talk in your book is about discovering the secrets for turning skeptics into buyers and buyers into referral machines. Tell us about some of if you could tease out a little bit of that.
Okay, there's businesses that don't need marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Amway, right? So what they did, their sales process is the people that they hire. I'll pay you a percentage to go sell my product.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to sell the person that's closest to you. I will invest the money in you to become a mini salesperson than spending millions and millions of dollars to marketing out there on radio or TV or anything else. And you're more invested and you'll get more people in. And then we'll raise you up. And then you manage and do the same thing over and over and reproduce that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's the referral process. I went in businesses that had no referral program. We're able to generate 20 to 40% because they're so focused on just the one sale. And when they're done, they move on.
Mm-hmm.
Your best customer is the one you just sold.
Yeah.
Right? And so people say, for example, let me give you an example. When should you ask for a referral? Oh, well, we ask for a referral after we service and product. And you don't know how that's going to go. You normally ask for the referral right up front because that's the happiest they're ever going to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, who besides yourself that you know that we possibly be able to help with the product? Right after the sale is done. Step number 10 is asking for a referral. It's not the sale. The sale is just automatic. Asking for the referral is the key because if you're my demographic and you're my target market, you should know somebody close. And when I talk to them, I can ask you to refer me, introduce me, which actually cuts down 2 of the steps of the process already and moves me on quicker to the next sale.
There you go. So that's one way of getting through it. The other question I have is how to stop wasting time with those who never purchase and identify those who will. How do we make that determination?
Well, the step is called qualification. Most of the people have, but here's the 3 things that we initialize in the 10 steps. Number 1 is qualification, right? Mm-hmm. Are you the person that makes that decision? Who besides yourself makes a decision about things of this nature, whether it's a product or service, right? The next is investing in what's called an emotional trigger. Finding out emotionally what will happen if they use that product. That's going to help you in the process to understand. If there's no emotions, normal times there's no sale. And then after that, going to step number 5, which is actually set up. If I could, would you? So I'm halfway done. Instead of going through pitching my product, I haven't even told you what I had to offer. I'm asking you if I could solve the problem that we talked about. And we could do it. And if you're a strong enough salesperson, put a price behind it for this amount of money. Is there anything that's going to hold us back from getting that done today? Today, not next week, today. And asking those difficult questions is what's going to save you time. If I can't, then I need to move on, ask for a referral and go, right? Because that what most people try to do is get on to the close and then close. The person's not even qualified. So, it's like, wow, you wasted, I don't know. And then you went through your whole presentation, which takes a lot of effort depending on how many times you're doing that. I used to do sales at a computer show. You're pitching all day. So by 3 o'clock, your energy level, which is, 80% of sales is confidence, is kind of down. And all the people got to use against you, karate wise, is no. So you got to figure out how to not get them to say no, in like 20 million ways to stop this one word from coming into the picture.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's I get that all the time on LinkedIn and on my emails and everything else. People hit me up for stuff and it's like, you're trying to sell me something. I'm not even in this business. Like, I've had people, send me emails or LinkedIn messages being like, hey, we manufacture steel. You want to buy some steel that you can resell? And I'm like, where did you get the impression I was in there? And you just wasted whatever your in-mail cost to send that message to me.
Right.
You haven't qualified me. I get all sorts of weird stuff all the time that gets hit up on the show.
Yes.
And people just blast it at you and don't ask questions, which
It's like you being a absolutely gorgeous girl. You ask them, they get crazy offers all the time,
Yeah.
right? So the more popular you become, people are looking up to you because if I can sell you, I can sell your friends. So it's not really about you, it's about the status. If I can sell status and then put you as my referral, if I can hit him, some people call it the whale, depending on your demographic, and they look at it from that standpoint. So, a lot of the Googling analytics that you probably had since you had this podcast has your status high. So everybody's fishing for you because you're a connector with everyone else.
Yeah.
So that's probably why. It's a good thing to have. Like I said, it's like being a 10, which is not too many 10s, but you're a 10. You get hit on all the time, right?
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
It's rough, man, being a 10.
It's rough. It's rough, Chris.
It's rough being the sexiest man alive.
Hey.
Yeah, we need to disconnect that Google Analytics so people quit bugging me. Now, I just want to say they see all the videos on LinkedIn because we pump, live into LinkedIn,
Right.
and so they see all the action we do on LinkedIn because we post a lot of stuff there, and we have a big LinkedIn newsletter in the LinkedIn group of 130,000 people, and so yeah, they see we're doing stuff, and I think that's where a lot of it comes from. But yeah, even then they're paying for their, they're paying InMail on LinkedIn to send us a message, and I'm just like, it's like serious, man, you're wasting a lot of money. One thing you talking about in the book is how to improve your communication skills and ability to influence others, both in business and your personal life. What are some techniques that we can do to do that?
The main thing people have to do these days, depending on your personality, is listen more. It's amazing. I have 2 children. I have to consciously do it myself because we're moving at such a fast pace nowadays. Our attention span is maybe even a fifth of what it used to be when we were growing up in the 90s because so much stuff is being thrown at us. To be in the moment and to thoroughly listen, like I go back to relationships. You're not listening. It's like you heard something, but are you listening? So in sales, it's like feedback, asking the question back to make sure you thoroughly understand it because the first rule I teach in sales, number one, when anybody works with me, rule number one is you never assume anything.
Yeah,
nothing.
Definitely never do that. Jeez, that's
all ruled out by questions. So it gives you ability to slow down because we're not being taught what a good conversation is. Right? School doesn't teach us that. So sales is a conversation of a different language that people need to understand. So that's why when people do it, and I check with them or analyze it, I'm like, I don't know what that is, but that's brutal. So it's like, sales supposed to be fun. And so that's why people have negative connotations with it, is because you actually have to come out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
to actually help people decide what they want.
Yeah.
Sales is normally seen as a negative, which it can. So it's a power that you have, and it could be used for good or it could be used for bad, which we all know the bad. We've seen it. We hear it on TV all the time. Guy done stole 300 and some odd, $50 million of stocks. Like, how did he do that? He
Mhm.
did the same thing. He just did it on a bigger scale.
There you go. And I think it's a negative because people don't like, the objections. They don't like being told no. They don't like being rejected. Yeah. How do
Right? And that
people?
comes back to where, Chris? What does that word come back to? They don't have the what?
I have no idea.
Confidence.
Confidence. Okay.
So when you go out, I always go back to relationships now. When you go out to try to date, or back in the days you had to approach girls, you know that you're gonna get turned down. It's
Mhm.
part of the game.
Yeah, it's part of the game.
So most people quit. They don't like it. They don't have the confidence. So most of the time, dating coaches would have guys try to boost their confidence up to understand and take the rejection. So women said, "Oh, I don't like when guys do that." Well, you know what it took for that guy to do that? Like, he had to work on himself to get the balls to go up to ask you to get shut down, which happens all the time. And then the other guy doesn't ask at all, which is a nice guy. He doesn't even show up in the picture because he can't even do it. But for some people, it took work to get to that point. Like, I know I'm gonna get shut down. Like, I don't care. It's like, and that's what it takes. And most people rather just go back 9 to 5 and don't have the responsibility of putting their personality and their confidence on the line with a paycheck.
Mm.
Because when you work a straight commission job,
Mhm.
every week or every month, your confidence and your talent is on the line, like a football player.
There you go. And I would say, in addition to confidence, it's skills, training,
Right.
knowing how to deal with rejection,
Yeah.
being taught a mindset of like, hey, it's okay if people tell you no. My mindset has always been, if people tell me no, thank you, great, no big deal. I'm one step closer to a sale because I know that sales is a numbers game. So
Right.
if I knock on as many doors, if I ask as many girls for their phone number, um, eventually I'll get to a yes. If I pursue no's, it's a numbers game, and not everyone's going to like you. Not everyone's going to buy from you. Welcome to life. It's not fair, but that's the process. But even if you're a horrible salesman, you know that if you dial enough phone numbers, you're probably going to get a sale. Someone's going to flop and land in your lap, as we used to call
Yeah.
it. You're like, you always tell the bad salesman, you're like, oh, you flopped a fish in your lap, did you? Just jump right out and landed right on you and hit you in the face. But having all those other core competencies, I think, lead to confidence. Having the knowledge base as a grounding underneath you, understanding the math, really. I mean, because then you're not bothered by it. If a girl tells me no for all the years that I've been single, I don't care. Great.
Right.
I mean, she just doesn't like me, and that's awesome because now I'm one girl closer to, we can put her off of the 7 billion people on the planet list, or we used to probably say half, because half are probably men and women. So, I'm 3.5 minus one down, to finding, whatever, someone I want to have annoy me for the rest of my life.
Yes. And so one of the things I did, Chris, is that I had a group of people and we were doing telephone sales. And so you can motivate people different ways. So the contest was the person with the most no's got the bonus money.
Oh, really?
But you had to do the sale correctly. You couldn't cheapen it. So if you did it correctly and you got the highest no's, then you got the bonus. You know what happened in the end?
What?
The person with the most no's got the bonus and had the most sales.
I love it. There you go. And that's it. It's a numbers game. And you just have to think of sales as a numbers game. You can't. You have to realize too that, well, I mean, I could say that they're not necessarily rejecting you, but they are, because people buy from people they like. And so, the greatest salesman I've ever had or met, they have kind of the ability to be attractive to all sort of person, where they know how to gain rapport with different styles of people. They know how to kind of mold themselves to gain rapport with different sizes of people. They know
Right.
how to understand human nature. Understanding human nature is a real big part of it. Some of my
Huge.
best salespeople have been psychologists. Like they read people really well, and they know how to get into people's heads and understand them and what they want. And if they can do that, people buy from people they like. It's just
Right.
a simple fact how it is. If they don't like you, they're not going to buy from you, whatever it is you're selling.
Right.
Unless they really desperately want it. I've had some people
really need it.
bung a sales process to me, and you're like, what's that old meme that kicks around? Shut up and take my money already. Jesus. Stop selling me. Yeah, give me the sale. So tell us what you do with your systems, with your website, with your coaching that you do. Tell us how people can work with you, what your services you provide, how they can onboard with you, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I say 360 because I've done all aspects of it. As far as some companies I've even hired, because one of the things, if you don't know how to sell, it's difficult to hire a salesperson.
Mhm.
So I did that for one. Look at him laughing. He knows it's true. He knows it's true. He's like, I keep going through people. I'm like, you're not a salesperson. You don't know how to hire. Like one thing a salesperson do know how to do is get a job. They can get a job. So I came from management. So what I do is I analyze where you're going to get the biggest bang for the buck. Is it technology you're lacking? Is it sales skill? Is it a process? Is it referrals? So when I analyze a company, because I don't work with all of them, or an individual, is figuring out where the money's going to come from to pay for me. I like the client that you're going to get pay for me, because my deal in the end is step number 10, referrals, right? So if I make you money, when somebody has a problem, they needs your sales are down, call Ben Brown. So I go into a company figuring out your system, because most people have a marketing system. They have an accounting system. They don't have a successful sales system until something goes wrong. Competition come in, they got sued. The company got bought out. Something has changed where they need, emergency Band-Aid on sales. And so that's when the phone actually rings, and I figure out what's going on. What's the money you're looking to make? So most of the time I'm able to generate 20%, 40% or more, just depending on what the problem is. I'm a problem solver. Like, what is the problem? You guys, do you have a sales process? That's the first thing. No. Okay. So how do you correct it if it's going wrong? Well, we're $1 million company. I've come into some companies that had no sales.
Serious.
So I've actually had to build a sales team. Projects that normally take about 6 to 7 months. Hire the sales staff, bring them in, train them, bring a manager in to oversee it, give them the keys to the car and walk away.
Wow.
So that's why I say when I can do a lot. That's a lot of work. But normally it's the difference when I work with individuals is that I'm able to role play. Because that rejection is the same thing. And when people reject you, they never tell you what you did wrong. So by role playing, you're able to see the difference in people, and it's like acting in the same thing, what you're doing wrong, because you're never supposed to practice on your potential clients. But you don't see people role play. They just read a script, or they do this, and they don't role play. So cut, no, try it again, different tone, do this, do that, listening to the phone conversations. Why did you say this? Where are you going when you're going with that? I mean, the direction I got when I started, everything was critiqued on cassette tapes. Why did you say that? I don't know. Take it out. Like, it's a waste of time. You're taking them on the wrong direction. It's like all these little small things going on in that conversation, because you're just trying to focus on what you're saying, not what they're telling you, right? So that's why I say the 3 things you got to do. You got to know where you're going. You got to be confident, and you got to listen, because in any potential sale, that in long enough conversation of asking questions, the client normal time is going to give you what's called golden nuggets or diamonds that they're throwing at you that people don't pick up.
Yeah.
You go, oh, did I hear you just say Why did you say, and then you get deeper into it, which is the emotional trigger, and you figure it out. Meanwhile, the person is just talking a mile a minute, right? They're just pitching. And that's a numbers game. That's fine. But when you really want to ask for the referral, sales go smooth. It's a beautiful thing because they don't know they're being sold.
Yeah. That's the real key. If you can sell somebody and they don't feel like they're being sold or pushed on, they can flow with it. And
it was my ultimate goal, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
I want a referral. So if the sale goes smooth, I can go right into that. Since we're having this conversation, oh, by the way, since we're on the phone and I've helped you, I would like to know at least 2 to 3 people that I know that I can help with the product or service that I just provided you. Who would you like to start with? Pause. Writing this down. Should I call them? Should you call them? When can I call them? Set me up, right? And if you do that, insurance companies do a lot of that, right? So it's simple, but it's not easy because there's steps before that. But if you continue to process, you'll see the success that you want.
Definitely. Asking referrals is important, especially if your customer's happy. And you got to do it right there in the moment because, after a while, they tend to forget, they move on. They're like, I did that. Now I'm doing something else. So I don't need to deal with that anymore. That works really well. So where can people onboard with you? How can they reach out? Give us your .com and the onboarding process, or seeing if you guys are a fit to each other.
Oh, 3 things. 360salesconsulting.com, or they can go meetwithbenjamin.com and then schedule a call. I tell people the book is Master the Art of Closing Sale. And I say, screw it, man. I'm one of those persons. You can call me direct, 863-274-3898.
There you go. Just call them directly. That's the best way to do it. There's so many people that put so many barriers between them and customers. I love to see them. Yeah.
Oh, because they like the whole low-hanging fruit and feel important.
Yeah. I think that sometimes they just don't want to talk to people. Like, you'll see people like, yo, you got to go fill out this form on my website, and then you got to do all this stuff. And you're like, and then they're sitting around going, oh, I don't have any customers. I'm like, have you seen that form? Like, I've had some people send me a form that they want me to fill out just to come on their podcast. And I'm like, Jesus, do you want my blood type and my stool sample and my, I don't know, names of my children and crap? Like, what the fuck? You don't even need any of this information, man.
Well, here's the deal, Chris. We used to sell like this back in the days, right? Face to face, door to door salesman. And over the years, because of the tools that we provided, it's gotten further and further away where you don't even know a face to the person that you're buying from.
That's true. And I think it's important to know the face of the person you're buying from. I don't know. That's kind of my thought. So there you go. So this has been very insightful and very educational. Ben, thank you very much for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yes. Awesome. It was good times always. Any other questions? I love it.
There you go. Master the art of closing the sale. The game-changing 10-step sales process for getting more clients and referrals. Thanks to our audience for tuning in. Go to goodreads.com/Chris Voss, LinkedIn.com/Chris Voss, YouTube.com/Chris Voss. Follow that big LinkedIn newsletter and the 130,000 group on LinkedIn as well. Thanks for tuning in. Be good to each other. Stay safe. And we'll see you guys next time.